Hello boys and girls of the YouTube world, I'm Steve from Steve's RCs. Just thought I'd do a video, introduce myself. Started the channel late last year and didn't really get much content, so thought I'd best do a little introducing video so you can put a face to the voice and a little run through of some of our cars that we have in the collection. Today I want to start by just running through a few of them. We've got the Armour Fire team here, we've got a few more on the shelves to look at, but yeah, all in all I just want to go through a bit of the collection so you can see what you're expecting over the next year on the channel, what sort of content we'll be producing, and some of our locations that we go filming at. So as you can see, it's Armour Fire Team 6S. I actually brought this pre-owned from a mate of mine. I know the history of the truck. I was with him when he picked up the truck. I know most of what he's done to the actual vehicle in upgrades. He's very meticulous, this friend of mine, and pretty much everything he works on is done to the highest standards you can think of, as you'll see with the suspension and that. But yeah, if we get the shell off, we can see what's going on in there in the fire team. So we've got just a standard normal 6S system that Armour released this fire team with the normal, I believe, what that's a 2050 kV motor. So yep, full standard ESC and motor combo that comes with the truck from Armour themselves. He did go out and buy the EXB diffs, the EXB front and rear shock mounts and the brace bars, because when he got it, these cross members were actually plastic, I believe, and these, I can't remember if they were metal already or if they were plastic. I'll have to have a look through some of the photos of it. He's also done the RPM arms all around this truck, and we've got a few metal upgrades. Got some nice metal hubs here that he's upgraded to. Larger bars on the front for the steering. I'm not sure what servo he's got in here, but come on camera, play the game. No, well there's the model number. If I can find it, I'll put a link in the description, blah blah, right, so yeah, all in all, I haven't actually had a chance to run this truck yet. It's literally relatively new to the collection. We haven't taken this out. The weather's been rather nasty over in the UK the last couple of weeks. So, plus with Christmas, I've been away visiting family and stuff. So we haven't really had any time out and about. We do have a lot of videos of other cars that I'm going to show you in this video from last year, which I'll be able to insert while we're talking about the vehicle, so you can see the sort of capabilities these things have when you start messing around with the electrics, giving them big opinions, faster ESCs and motors, being able to gear up. We've got a lot of toys that I have not kept standard, which in some cases brilliant. Like that one, for example. Absolutely love what I've done with this. This thing is fantastic, but we'll get back to that in a moment once we've finished with the fire team. You might be able to see in there, as I was going on about, he's done the EXB diffs. You can see the centre there, that's the EXB. Obviously it's a 6S rig, so it can run 4 or 6. Like I say, I'm really happy with it. I am really happy with it, and I'm hoping to get it out over the next couple of days. So by the time this video comes out, we may have some footage of this truck in action. And if I can get some footage of this truck in action before this video comes out, I will definitely be showing you what this can do, because I've seen it out a couple of times with me mate. I'm rather impressed. There's a few things we can do to it to slightly improve it. There's a few things we can do for speed, stuff like that. My friend runs this at a very reasonable gearing. It doesn't really get that hot from when he's ran it with me. I'm not sure 100% what he's got on the pinion, to be honest. I would have to take it off, have a look, but I'll work that out when I actually decide to up it. For now, we're just going to leave this exactly as it is. We've checked it over, it all runs lovely. I mean, give me a moment, I'll show you the shocks on this. Like I say, my friend is very, very meticulous when it comes to his vehicles. I'll show you the suspension on this. Like, lovely rebound, absolutely spot on, front and back. It's got a lovely ride to it. From having it on the bench, it feels like it's going to handle very well, very responsive. Sorry, it's yeah, going to be fun. So there's the fire team from Armour. It's a 1/7 scale, obviously, but yeah, there you go. Lovely little truck. Really looking forward to getting this thing out. Really cannot wait. Now this one I'm actually quite impressed with. I suppose to give you the full story on this, we need to go back. I had a EXB Kraton 6S, but it kept on eating differentials. So I got really annoyed one day and just took it to bits and threw it in the cupboard. And then one of my mates said, "Hey, I've got a 6S Kraton there, Steve. You know, would you be interested?" And I asked prices and that, and it was quite agreeable, so I brought it off of him. And then I had a Mojave as well. And the Mojave, I brought it brand new out of, I believe it came from Wheelspin Models. And it was quite a lot of money because it was just a roller. It was the EXB edition. I have still got it around, but it's not a Mojave anymore, because as you can probably tell from this rig, this has got the Mojave's wheels and the Mojave's arms, drive shafts, diffs. I took all the running gear from the Mojave for this, and I took all of the Kraton gear off of this and put it onto the Mojave. And I have to say, the Mojave, it was a great truck. I really liked it. It was brilliant for what it was designed for, but it's not my sort of truck. I find the wheels off the Mojave on this, it's so much more usable. It's so much more fun. You can actually get it to really go. The Mojave was very, I suppose, underwhelming. I suppose it's not the speed of it. It was very quick, but I don't know if it's just because of the extra size and the scale. It's bigger, so it looks slower, but I find this much more fun to drive, much more of a handful. We have done quite a lot of electrical upgrade on this. This did have the standard 6S, the same as what's in that fire team that we looked at earlier. It did have that to start with. This got shelved because it then broke that ESC motor. It burnt out one day, got wet. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Unfortunately, with the standard systems in the Armour stuff, you get lucky or you don't. So we didn't. That's the third one I've lost. That's why I tend to, first thing I would upgrade on these is the diff and the ESC and motor combo, because I find the standard ones, they're all right. I mean, I'm going to be running one in a Big Rock at some point. You'll see that on the channel at some point. Or we'll have a look at the Big Rock as it sits at the moment. Bless it, poor thing, it's had a very hard life. But yeah, so this has got the Hobbywing Max 6 in it, and mated to that is the 1650 kV motor combo. Now this thing can run 6S, the motor. The ESC can run 8, but I'm not brave enough, to be honest, because I run this mainly on 4S, because I find on 6S it's just way too much. It's stupid. It just leaves lines on any ground, grass wise or loose gravel, grass, dirt. It will just rip chunks of it up, and if you keep the power on, it doesn't tend to wheelie. This tends to just sit down and go, and it doesn't half leave lines behind it. It is a lot of fun. I haven't had this one out in a while because the weather, like I say, I've just swapped it over because we had it on a different chassis. We had it on a older generation Armour Kraton chassis. I believe it was the V4 chassis, slightly wider, a few other little bits and bobs. But like I say, I had that EXB Kraton that I had taken apart. The chassis on that was perfectly straight, but the chassis on this, unfortunately, I took it to a skate park and it had a couple of really bad incidences from height onto a fence. I'll see if I can find the video of that. That was a little while ago, and it's been put on the shelf ever since, unfortunately. Yeah, it's like I say, 1650 with max 6. It's got a 25 kilo servo in it. I run it on a Dumbo. I run pretty much all of my stuff on Dumbo equipment for the radio receivers, except for certain things. We've got a drift car on its way, which we're not going to be running on the Dumbo because we want the gyro and all of that lot, and we need a better controller that we can control more points, endpoints, stuff like that from the actual controller itself. This has got one of the EXB braces for the back. Front one, unfortunately, I Loctited it into the EXB when I first built it, and yeah, let's just say it didn't go well trying to get it off. So yeah, we'll be ordering one for this at some point. I may have a Kraton plastic one somewhere, but everything's packed up at the moment. We're supposed to be moving soon, but we'll see how that goes. But yes, so eventually this will have either the EXB brace or a plastic one for now until I get the EXB brace, but at some point in the future you will see this with the EXB bracing in it. Like I say, run mainly 4S. It can do 6. I have done 6. I won't do 8. I don't have 8 batteries that I can put in this, so I haven't got enough room physically with the batteries I've got to run this on 8, and I wouldn't anyway because it's just too crazy. Great bit of kit, great fun, real good laugh. I've had so much fun with this. I mean, I did have the Kraton original 1/5 Kraton original ESC motor combo, which is actually it's here, and this was in this car, but we had a problem with the ESC getting hot. One of the motor cables fell out. I tried to resolder it back in, it wouldn't go, then the connector broke, and so on and so forth. And after wasting so much time on it, I just thought to myself, you know what, I've got that other system sat there doing nothing. We'll just throw that in it for now, just to get it back up and running. We'll get this one out of the car so we can get it on the shelf, and then at some point we can get it on the bench and we can sort out all the problems with it. I'm going to have to solder a new connector on it, I believe, for the motors to push into on the ESC. Not a massive deal, you know, easy enough, but just an annoying thing that I can't be bothered to do right now. I mean, and it was a bit heavy with that power system and motor. That motor is very heavy, but like I say, this thing, I've had so much fun with it. It's been an absolute great little basher. I've had this in this configuration for about a year now, and in fairness, it withstood a good 6 to 7 months of abuse before it finally gave up. And it gave up because of the 8S system I had in it giving so much punch. It actually snapped 2 front brand new drive shafts, and it had already done a diff and a few other bits and bobs by this point, and I just got wound up with it and just put it on the car shelf because I had other cars that were doing other things at the time. So I just thought, no, we don't need the hassle. We'll just do what's got to be done, get it back up and running. But as you can see, it is a very nice bit of kit. I do like this car. It's very fast. It handles amazingly. It does do jumps, but I tend not to because this one doesn't. It will do jumps, and if you force it, it will do backflips, blah blah blah, but you're putting a lot of stress on the disc because of these small wheels. It doesn't have the rotational mass to flip the vehicle fast enough on some jumps. I mean, if you're going to go over a jump, you're going to get massive air, 20 foot, yeah, easily do backflips. But on your standard jumps that you're going to come across on fields and stuff like that, you're going to get 3/4 most of the time. You will randomly get one, but most of the time you're going to get 3/4 of the way round. She's going to come down on the front bumper and she's going to backflip over, land on her roof, and then you're going to have to go walk and get it. Ask me how I know. But yeah, that's the Kraton Mojave mashup. Like I say, there'll be more on this over the coming year because this is a very, very fun truck. But we've still got quite a few to get through, so I'll put this one away and we'll get on to the next one. Now this is something I never thought that I would actually be into. My mate was going on at me, going on for a couple of months. You need to get into crawling, you'd really like crawling. And I thought to myself, no, I can't see how I'm going to enjoy it. I can't see the excitement in it. But I will be honest, I got a cheap little crawler. It wasn't this one, it's over here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is, I can dig it out and we'll see it later on. But I got a cheap little crawler, it only cost me about 120 quid, I think it was, something like that. And I had a bit of a play and I had a bit of a bash around, and I actually really enjoyed it. And then I ended up going out and getting a bigger crawler, bigger scale, and then decided I want to custom build my own. And that's where this comes in. This is a custom built SCX-10. It's on an SCX-10 chassis, but it's all parts that you buy on the internet, mix and match. I went on all sorts of websites, got all sorts of different bits and bobs, put them all together to build this car. Now, I think in total with the power system, I think we're about 420 quid into this, and it's still relatively fresh build. As you can see from the condition of all the parts, it hasn't really had much in the way of use, but what it has had in the way of use I've enjoyed, and it is showing itself to be pretty capable. I mean, it's on ported axles. It does have a slipper. I need to tighten it a little bit. I'm finding it's struggling from time to time in areas where I wouldn't think it would. It's got the Hobbywing 1200 kV crawler ESC motor combo. It's all in one, as you can see here. It's an all-in-one controller and motor. Very good. I have video of this crawling in my mate's house, and he's got his crawler next to it, and this is on crawl on just the controller. We just turned it up ever so slightly to see when it starts moving how slow it can crawl, if it can crawl at that speed over things. So I did a video in his house. I'll put a bit of it into this video so you can see what I'm on about. Very impressive, very controllable. It can crawl very slowly. I'm very surprised at how slow this thing can actually go, and it's so precise and so controlled. We need to do a little bit more work to the suspension and shocks on this. I'm finding it's still a little bit too stiff. It needs a bit more, because we have articulation, but I mean, we do have a fair amount, but it's just the springs aren't bottoming out properly. I mean, it should move so much more. We're getting to here, the back wheel's on the same side as I'm lifting, starting to come off the bench. So, but if we hold it just before it comes off, we still have this much to play with. So we can get this much articulation if we can get the shocks to behave themselves and work properly. And that is the plan for this. Like I say, it's a full custom build crawler. I can't give you a link for all of the pieces. I'd be there for hours. It's just something that I decided I was going to build myself. But I mean, if you want something like this, it's quite simple. There's so much stuff for this. You can build one slightly cheap, slightly expensive. I've gone sort of mid-range. I could have spent a damn sight more on the axles and a few other bits and bobs, but I'm not going hardcore crawling. I just go down the local dips, a few rocks, sandstone, stuff like that. Nothing too immensely hassling for a car of this scale and this size. It's got a very good servo in it. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but when we actually do the video of this car on its own, and I run you through all of the pieces, puzzles, all the photos of it being built, I do have those photos step by step of the build, chassis being going in, gearbox going in, axles going on, individual photos that I can piece together so you can see the parts that went together to make this. But yeah, I'll pick you up off the side so you can have a bit of a closer look at things. If we go down here, as you can see, focus camera, it's got the ported axles there, both front, rear. You know, it's carbon fibre battery holder, low range gearbox, they're locked diffs. I can't remember where the springs came from. To be honest, I think they were just an eBay job. Most of this, I believe, just came off of eBay because you could get all the parts relatively easily, relatively quick. And yeah, I mean, it's full metal. I've weighted the wheels as well. I've put weights in the tyres. In fact, a little bit of advice: low down weight on your crawler, as everybody knows. And what I've done here, if you wanted to copy, is I've gone onto Amazon and I've got the stick-on wheel weights for alley wheels on cars, and I've just wrapped one full sleeve out the box round the inner on the inside of the wheel, so it's inside the foam, so the foam's still on the outside, so you've still got, you know, it's still plenty, yeah, it's very good, but you've also got that extra weight in there to really hold the car down so you can get to really impressive angles without it wanting to fall over or falling over. But yeah, there you go, that's the SCX10 custom build. There'll be, like I say, there'll be another video on this. I'll make another video on all of them, one at a time, a little bit more in depth about them, what made it happen, how that came about. But yeah, there you go, there's that one, and we'll find out what else we've got in the toy cupboard that we can show you that actually works at the moment. Now this I've recently got off of a friend as well. Once again, you will meet Sam. He comes out quite often with us when we're going out with the crawlers. He's just started drifting as well, hence why I'm getting a drift car, so we're going to end up doing that together. We take the bashers out as well, but this is one of his bashers that he's just wanted rid of. He's had enough of it. He's had it for quite a long time, in fairness, and it's served him well. It really has. I mean, it's an impressive little car. I've seen it do all sorts of things. It can backflip, it can front flip, it can wheelie for days. It's, like I say, brilliant little toy. He just wanted rid of it. I couldn't see it disappear without having a go myself, because I wanted one of these, but he got, I believe it was Nitro when it first arrived, when it first got by its original owner, and they transferred it into brushless. Or maybe Sam did, he put the system in it, but it came with the mount for the motor or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, because I wasn't there when he got this one. But he has got a brushless system in it. It's a hard shell as well. It's solid. Like this thing that you're about to see, it's full metal. It's a mad bit of kit. So let's get you up off the side there. I haven't had a chance to go through this yet. A few things are a bit ropey. They need a little bit of looking at, tweaking, and I need to put a diff in it, because he provided the diff, but the rear input gear, it's been a problem for him and our mate Jay, actually, who also has a Savage. He's had the same problem. The input gear to the rear diff likes to snap teeth, and they haven't been able to work it out. But well, like I say, I haven't gone through this one yet. It is going to be getting a full strip down, clean, re-grease, check clearances, check tolerance. It's new to me item. I need to know what I'm looking at, what mesh it's got, what pinion it's got, what spur gear it's got. Then I can work out roughly what to do with it and how I'm going to play with it. So as you can see, now we've got you up off the side there, so you can have a closer look. It's dual springed. They're a bit tired, bit worn out. It's had a lot of, like I say, this has had a lot of work. This has been a really impressive rig for him. It's done really well. It's proper basher, like, you know, as we say, we always want to be out. We don't want to be pissing around with it. So this thing's been put back together again with random bits and bobs. And obviously when I take it to bits, I am going to have to go through it. I'll get a bolt kit for it, and I'll just replace all of the bolts that are easy to get to, all the ones I can get out. I'm going to have to deal with rounded ones and all that, but it's all part of the hobby, it's all part of the fun, as they say. Right, so as you can see with this, he's done full metal. It's got the metal hubs as well, metal arms, top, bottom, same there. It's got metal arms, top, bottom on the rear as well. The problem he was having with this Savage, which we found quite interesting, is He changed these arms for some thicker ones because he kept on snapping them. They kept on breaking no matter what he did, no matter how he set these arms up. One of them would snap and then he'd still drive it, but this wheel's doing this and it's crabbing all over the place. It was still good fun, still a laugh, but couldn't take advantage of the full truck's capacity and capabilities. So he's finally found the right ones, because when he was pushing down on this, as you can see there, does not affect the wheel at all of direction of travel. But with the old arms that he had on here, every time he squished it down, this one and these two rear wheels, they would just toe out. Just both of them toe out, and then it looked stupid, and the truck tried to pull itself to bits, and it just wasn't very good. So he managed to sort that problem before I purchased it off of him. He's running I believe this is a 2200 kV 6S Hobbywing motor with the Max 8 ESC combo. Like I say, I haven't actually used this one yet. It's going to be getting used soon. Like, I'm planning on going out and getting videos of all of these over the next couple of weeks, so I can get them up on the channel, so we can get some content out there, so you guys can see what we're up to, see what it is we're trying to achieve here. You know, we enjoy our RC cars, we like our RC cars, we are very involved in RC, and we're just taking you along for the ride, really. We're just letting you see what we get up to, stupid things we try, so we can give you ideas. If you've got any ideas, suggestions for things that I can do on the channel, do feel free to comment down below. I will read the comments as and when they come through. I will check out what you lot are saying, see if there's anything you see in the background of a video that might interest you, that you might want me to talk about. You know, we do have, I mean, like I say, we're packed up at the moment, but this is not even all of it, and we still have a lot. You know, there's stuff elsewhere, there's things in other rooms. I've got way too much of it because I was supposed to already, like I say, be moved by now, and I was supposed to have my own room for it, all set up, ready to rock and roll, but it just hasn't quite happened yet. But such is life, these things happen. It is happening at some point. It will happen, hopefully. So for now, we've just got to deal with what we can. This is the space we have available to us to do what we've got to do. So let's see what we can make happen and see if we can get some nice content out there for you guys. Right, well, where to start with this one? This is the Arrma Big Rock that we mentioned earlier in the video. I've been chasing a dream with this thing for quite a long time. About 8 months ago, I took it out to one of our places we go. It's a little, it's in a forest area. It's a little like pump track for bikes, and it's quite secluded. It's quite small. It's very difficult to get the big rigs around it without crashing them. But there's a few little areas in there with some really good jumps. You can do some real good height backflips, stuff like that. And about, I don't know, 6-7 months ago now, we had this out down there. It took a hard hit. It took a real hard hit. And the Max 10 ESC that I was running in it, because it was capable of 4S. I only ran it on 3, but it was capable of 4 because I upped the pinion a bit, added coolers, so it was very, very quick. Like I say, it had a bad impact, which made the ESC come loose from the chassis. And instead of it just pulling off the chassis, the glue that I had used, don't ask me how, was so strong it actually ripped the bottom of the ESC off. I imagine it's had damage from previous. It had been in and out of 4 different 3S cars by this point. It had been in my Centrum when I had that, which I don't have anymore. It had been in this one for a while. It had been in a Typhoon as well, because I've had those 3. So yeah, it was tired. It was time for it to be retired anyway. I've had a lot of use out of it. It's had a lot of heat cycles, a lot of abuse. I'm surprised it still worked, to be honest. It actually was quite funny. It got to a point with that Max 10 that in this car, actually, all the time it was on the floor, it was perfect. But as soon as it got halfway around a backflip, it'd lose power. and cut out, and then once it brought the back round and got itself coming back on a level, it would start again. It was quite a weird thing to go through, but like I say, it broke. I decided, right, I've had enough of this 3S. I want to try and make a 6S, and this is just before Arrma was releasing their 4S setup. So I was just like, yeah, I want it. And because I already had the components, I thought, I want to go. So what we did is we did a few things to it, which I'll get you off the bench now, and we'll go over them with you once we get the body off. And I'll show you some of the upgrades I've done for this to try and get it to be able to withstand 6S power. It's not there yet. I've got a shopping list of parts for it, metal diffs. I'm going to put a spool in it because the slipper clutch just cannot keep with this thing. But we'll talk more once you're up off the bench. Just bear with us for one moment. Right, now we've got you up off the bench. Get the body off of it so you can see some of the stuff that's gone into this. Now, like I say, we started with a 3S chassis, a Big Rock chassis. It was a complete standard Big Rock. All it had was the Hobbywing Max 10 thrown in it, and it made it so much more fun, I will be honest, but only when you're running 4S. But it did balloon the tyres and blow them up quite a lot, so I went through tyres quite often with this, so I'm going to have to come up with something on the tyre side of things once I get this where I want it. We've put Kraton 6S shocks on it to try and beef up the suspension, to try and make it a bit softer, because this thing, I'm thinking once it's got the 6S power in it, if I can get it to put it to the floor, this thing's going to be a bit stupid, and height is going to be our thing. And I try and land them on their wheels, and I'm thinking I want the shocks to be not brutally stiff. I mean, the rears are about right. That's how I want it. So as it comes down on the landing, it will compress. It won't bottom out. The springs take most of the pressure. That's what I'm after here. The fronts need some work. They're a bit steppy and they need rebuild. But we've got, like I say, 6S Kraton EX. No, they're not EXBs. Well, same thing really. But they're 6S Kraton shocks with a 20 or a 25. That's a 25 kilo servo. I put the centre brace out of a Arrma Kraton. Is what's in here. I had to drill through the top of the diff covers, front and rear, and then nut and bolt through. But this came off of a EXB Kraton 6S, one that I took apart, and I decided I'll retrofit this into here. It took a little bit of adjustment, as you can see here. I've had to wind it out a bit to get it to stiffen up, but it's made it very rigid, very solid, which I think is going to help us in the long run with the impacts that I imagine this thing's going to end up taking. Like I say, I want to put a BLX 185 ESC motor combo in this. I'm ordering, I haven't ordered yet, they're in the shopping basket on eBay, ready for payday. I'm ordering metal front and rear diffs for it. Not the cheapest thing to do, but if I want this sort of setup, I need metal diffs. These plastic ones are not going to withstand it. They might once, they might twice, they might for a month, but chances are it's not going to withstand it within one run, and we're going to be in there replacing them anyway, and then we're going to have plastic bits of diff all over the place inside those casings. And I have greased these diffs, so it will make a lovely mess and it'll take hours to clean. So instead of having that headache, we're literally just going to take them apart, clean out all the grease before we rip them to bits, replace them with metal. I was having a problem with, I did set this up with the BLX in it, but the slipper could not withstand what was happening. It just couldn't take it. I don't blame it. I mean, it's Arrma released this with a 3S system, you know, 3300 kV motor, I believe. It might be a 32. I can't remember 100%. I've got so many that I've lost track. But yeah, they release it 3S. They expect most people to run it mainly on 2 because it's fun on 2. It's quick enough on 2. If you give it another couple of teeth on the pinion, it makes a big difference. I mean, I found if you put a cooling fan on the motor and an 18 tooth no, a 20 tooth pinion with a rocket fan on the motor, run a separate feed for power from your receiver box to that fan to give it full voltage. I can't remember if you can on those ESCs up the Beck voltage. You can on the Max 10, which was in this. You can up the Beck voltage, and that gives you a little bit more RPM on the cooling fan, because it's being sent another 1.2 volts, I believe, maybe 1.4. Right, don't quote me on it. Like I say, we are just a general mess about with RC. We don't have all the answers for you. We don't know absolutely everything. So obviously with the slipper not working properly because it's designed for 3, maybe 4S at times, I'm going to order a metal spool for this. I found it. You can get it. I have seen it. And I'm going to order one, get that in here, because I can't have a slipper. It's just not going to work with a slipper. It's too much power. It's just going to rip the slippers to bits. It has been for ages. I've put one in. I managed to get the slipper to last for 2 wheelies up the road, and then when I buried it to give it full power, it just squealed its head off as the slipper let go and just sat there screeching. So the slipper's not going to be the option. I mean, we've already upgraded to metal drive shafts, because chasing that sort of power, you're going to need metal drive shafts. The plastic ones that Arrma released these with, once they get a bit of age on them, bit of wear and tear, they start getting loose and flexy, and then they break, and you can pop them back together. They usually go on the cup, and you can pop them back together again. And if you're only running a 3S system on 2S, then yeah, by all means, Arrma thought ahead. It's going to get old, it's going to get weak, you can pop it back in, it's going to keep on doing it, but until you get your new part, it's not dead, it's still slightly usable. Obviously, once you've done it with a 6S system, every time you nail it, it's just going to pop them. So I got metal drive shafts that go onto the standard diffs, and they will also be compatible with the metal diffs that we're going to put on this. Like I say, once we get the metal diffs in, we are going to start building this car. We are going to get this up and running. Once we get the metal diffs and we get the spool here, I'm hoping the end of the month when I get paid, I can order the bits. So middle of next month, hopefully, we will have a working 6S Big Rock in a 3S chassis, which I think will be absolutely amazing. I don't know what you lot think. I mean, I can, if you want, I will do a video on this anyway once it's built. Full breakdown of what we did, how we did it, why we did it. All that will be in that video. So if you do want to play along at home, if this has given you the idea of, hang on, that sounds stupid, I fancy a go at that, I will provide all the information you'll need to build an exact replica of it. Not a problem. I'm more than happy to do that for you guys. Like I say, I just decided to be stupid. I had the parts on the shelf anyway. It didn't cost me anything. They were all in stock at home. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go, see what happens. And I found the weak points. Now I found the weak points. We've got to build it again, build it right, build it properly this time, and make sure that we get it working properly. I'm thinking the plastic centre shaft is probably going to be our next weak link. I'm going to put it together with the plastic centre shaft. With you can get a holder for it. You can get a holder halfway up it that has a bearing on the shaft, holds it centre point, so it's not flapping around and vibrating all over the place. We're going to try that first. If that doesn't work, we're going to see if we can get a metal one. If no one provides a metal one, I may go to the extremes, speak to a couple of people I know who have the tools and the necessary equipment, and see if they can make me one. But obviously that's going to be time, labour expensive. It is what it is. But we will get this there. I'm just not promising it's going to be within the next month or two, or at some point this year. By the end of this year, I want this car to be absolutely bulletproof, and I'm hoping we can do that. But yeah, there's the Arrma Big Rock that we're going to be working on. I know it's not looks like much, it's just a roller at the moment, but trust me guys, once we get the parts to build this thing and build it right, I reckon this thing is going to be an absolute weapon. Right, moving on to the fifth scales. This is a FG night 2-stroke. This is another second-hand, brought second-hand off of another mate of mine. Once again, he's very meticulous on his vehicles. He does absolutely everything correctly by the book, exactly how it's supposed to be done. This thing is great fun. He had converted it back to just rear wheel drive when I got it off of him. I had to put the front diff back in. It's got a belt drive underneath. I'll show you once we get you off the bench and you're actually looking properly. It's like I say, it's got the belt drive system that goes from the front rear diff to the front diff to power the front wheels. This is a 4-wheel drive nitro 2-stroke car. This is very fun. It's not the fastest, but it's not about the speed with the older 2-strokes. It's about the noise, the smell. There's something about it. It's different. Not many places you can run these, unfortunately. People get annoyed with the noise. This is very loud, I will be honest. It's not as loud as... I've got another one. It's tucked up there. We're not going to get that in this video because it is buried behind all the stuff that we're waiting to move. So I'll show you this one. We do have another just rear wheel drive Barger. I believe it's got a 30cc engine in it, but we lost compression. I believe it doesn't work at the moment. I need to get a new engine or a rebuild kit for it. I just haven't got round to it yet. Like I said, lots of things going on. There's a lot of cars, there's a lot of cars in the mix. I've got a lot of toys. It's hard to keep on top of all of them. Sometimes when they break, they just get put to the back of the cupboard. And, I didn't get the 2-strokes really to use them. As you'll see with this one, it's got a lot of aluminium upgrades on it. This is mainly to be a showpiece. It's shelf queen, as we say in the industry, shall we say. This and the other one are both really, they're going to be shelf queens at the new place we're going to. That's why they've got all the metal on them and that. But I'm going to be stripping them down, cleaning them up when we get to the new place, so they're nice and clean and shiny, because that's what these are for, to be honest. They are going to get used. There will be videos on these. They're not going to be often, because like I say, going somewhere with it, I know places I can take them, but you tend to just draw unwanted attention. People, kids that you just don't want to deal with because they're, oh, that's cool, oh, I want it, let me have a go. No, you're not having a go. You don't understand what you're looking at. It's not a toy. It is, but it's an adult toy. You give this to the wrong hands, you're really going to hurt somebody. This thing is chunky. It's solid. It's very heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it. Problem my mate was having when he had it on 4-wheel drive, that's why he converted it back to rear drive, is it has a case of grip roll. It's, if you're not quick enough with the throttle, you do have to drive this thing on and off the throttle. You can't go into bend stupid. You do have to be respectful of the power that it's got, the pickup that it's got. But he kept on having grip rolls, and it would break the front drive shafts. I've done it myself as well since putting it back to 4-wheel drive. I've been lucky the last couple of times it's gone out. I do have footage of this actually being run. I think I made a reel on YouTube, on Facebook of it. There may be one in the shorts on the channel somewhere. If you look in the short videos on the channel, you might come across a couple of videos of this. I will insert some video footage of this doing its thing anyway. Like I say, very impressive, this thing. I'll get you off the shelf, we'll have a look at it a bit closer, and then we'll put it away again and see what else we've got in the toy box. So now we've got you off the side, guys. Right, as you can see, this has got aluminium lower, upper, steering, everything. It's basically everything on it is aluminium. Like, it is really well built, this thing, really well built. My mate Phil's done a very good job on this, he really did, and I'm just glad that we were able to buy it off of him, because it is such a well put together, ready to run vehicle. All I had to add to this was a controller. It came with a controller, but I don't like the controller it came with. It came with, I don't think I've got one to hand. No, I believe it was a Skyfly that it came with, and I'm not a fan of them. I find they're a difficult controller to operate and mess around with. It's so much easier to just shove one of these bad boys in there. easy to link, easy to use. You know, 6-channel. You don't need 6-channel on this. Right, but like I say, if we get this off. Oh, I've been looking for that battery. Right, we've got an upgraded steering servo here. It's a 60 kg. Steering on this is really good, really, really good. As you can see, full metal. Everything on it is metal. He done an absolute blinding job with this. This is a brilliant build. Very well put together, very well thought out car. The belt drive's a little bit fiddly, it's a little bit finicky. I tried cutting corners, and I shouldn't admit that, but I tried cutting corners, putting it together, because I didn't want to have to take the engine and everything and undo all of it just to get the belt drive in. Do yourself a favour, if you've got one of these and you're putting the belt drive back in, just undo everything from the chassis. Get the chassis off the car, put the belt drive in. You know, it's so much easier. It really is so much easier. Get the diff houses off, get the engine out the way. You know, it makes it so much faster, it's so much easier to do, it's so much better to do. I'm not sure what pipe this has got on it. I'm not 100%. I can tell you it's loud. It is loud. It does make a lot of noise. Like I say, it's not about the speed on this. I still reckon, I mean, we'll get a speed run on this at some point. I've got a GPS reader. We will get a speed run on this at some point. 35, maybe 40, I reckon it's doing at the moment. I'm not sure what pinion and spur gear are on this, to be honest. I haven't. It's another one of those that I got off of him. I put it back into 4-wheel drive and I've just run it because it's been so reliable. You know, it's always fired up when I've wanted to use it. It's a brilliant bit of kit. I do enjoy using it, but like I say, you don't really get much time because people get annoyed with the noise. That's why I like the brushless stuff. The brushless stuff, it's fast, it's durable, it's very well thought out, and it's quiet. People don't mind you buzzing around with your electric RC cars, but when you get these noisy buggers out on the field, people tend to have a problem with it. And I get it in a way. It's really loud. Last thing they want to listen to on their lovely walk out with their kids and their dog and all that is the sound of two-stroke screaming its head off. I get it, I do, but by God, it's fun. And sometimes that's all that matters. I mean, like I say, we will have videos of this year. We will do things with this car, but it's going to be few and far between, unfortunately, because like I say, this was got mainly as a shelf queen. It's full, like I say, full metal chassis, metal arms all round, absolute weapon. Thing is absolutely brilliant. Right, just really, really heavy though. That's its biggest problem. But like I say, a fun car all in all, and really good to just take out. And when you're having a bad day, go make some noise, because this thing is massively fun. Right, here we go, boys and girls. The last one I'm going to show you, I know we said it was only going to be a little video. It's turned into quite a big one, but as you can see, we've got quite a lot of cars in quite a lot of different, like, shall we say, states of disrepair and different platforms, different things going on. Like I say, I've been doing the hobby for coming on 2.5 years, so I've got a lot of cars and they're all in different points, but it's just trying to catch you up with where we are with them, so you know what we're looking at, you know what we've got, you know what we're running. Like I say, this is my most expensive at the moment. I've done a lot of work to this rig. This is the Kraton 8S EXB. This is a brilliant 5th scale truck. I still need to do a few bits to it. It needs a better steering servo. The original ones are weak from factory. They're not brilliant. I just haven't got around to it. I've been spending money on other bits for this car. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I mean, like I said earlier on in the video, with that original system, this is the car that had that original, this system here. This had this original Kraton 8S system in it when I got the car. Like I say, it was good enough. It did good job. I geared it up a bit. It did get hot, but it would do, I don't know what, 50-ish on a push with the high-speed gearing on it. But like I say, it did get hot. We cured that a bit with the big fans that we've put on it. This one, actually, there will be a video on this soon. Last outing, it didn't last very long, and then it done a diff in. I'm not 100% sure which diff it's done, but it's done a diff. I think it's the rear. I'm not 100%. It's been a while since I've had this one out. I just haven't got around to it. I do have the diffs for it. In fact, I've got a full spare chassis for this car. One came along at a reasonable price. Had all the diffs in it, arms, chassis, the works, all of it. So I decided, you know what, I need a few bits anyway, which was going to be not far off the value of what I had to pay for the other car. So I just brought the other car out. Right, that's where this shell came from, because this originally had this shell on it. But as you can see, she been beaten, like massively beaten. But to be honest, with this one, I tend to run, as I say, I have that Mojave that we took to bits and we turned into something else. And we were running a Kraton 6S shell on that car, just to keep the stuff out of it, you know, grass, mud and all that. Because the Mojave shell just wouldn't go on because of the wheels. Because obviously the Kraton wheels are a lot bigger than the Mojave wheels. So it just wouldn't fit. Looked stupid, didn't like it, so I ran a Kraton shell on the Mojave platform, because we had obviously put Kraton wheels, arms, drive shafts and all that into it. So what I did is I got the Mojave shell. I had to do some trimming. This is an accident I had with the Mojave. Snapped that corner clean off. I had to rebuild it. Not the best work, but does the job. It keeps the crap out. That's the main thing of this. Did a bit of trimming on the back end, and I usually run this on this truck because I like the look of this on this truck. I will get it in the video a little bit later so you can see the look of it now and then the look of it with the Mojave shell on it, and I think it just finishes it off quite nicely. But we'll get you off the bench and we'll give you a look around on some of the upgrades on this. This has got a lot of money spent on it. This is a very expensive car. I don't get as much use out of it as I was hoping to get, because I'm at that point where it's cost so much to get it there. I don't want to break it, which is wrong of me. It should get out. It deserves to be out. This thing is amazing. But let's get you up off the bench so you can have a look. So here you go, guys. Now we've got you up off the side there so you can actually get a proper look at this vehicle. This, like I say, it's the Kraton 8S. It's been heavily upgraded by myself. I mean, that's the look of it with its normal shell on. If I just place you down here for a second, because I'm going to need both my hands to be able to get this Mojave body onto the car. Bit of a two-handed job, unfortunately. It does fit. You just got to manhandle it in. Okay. Where are you? Oh, here we go. Gonna make me look like a liar now, aren't you? Oh, no. And we are in. Oh, I see. There we go. So that's it with the Mojave body on. Like I say, bit of a faff to get on there, but really like the look. Really like the way it sits on. It looks so much nicer than the Kraton body. And obviously, because it's tucked up nice and tight against the chassis, less muck, less crap's going to get in your car. So it's easier when it comes to cleaning it down, because most of the stuff is on the outside of the body, which is what we like, because it makes it easier, less work. That's what we want. But if we just take this off so you can get a look on the inside. As you can see, this is not anywhere near standard. Like I say, this is the standard system that came in this truck, and it was good. It was. I can't argue it. It was a really good system. It did the job, but I wanted more speed. I wanted faster. I wanted more power. So this is the Hobbywing Max 5 ESE with the Coke Cam motor on it. It's a 800 kV. See if I can get. It's hard to actually see it inside the vehicle, especially when I'm casting shadows. That doesn't help, does it? But as you can see, the end of the motor is like here, so it's very decent sized motor. We've obviously got the two big rocket fan motors, coolers on here. We've got a rocket fan motor for cooling the ESE as well. Aluminium diff covers front and rear. Aluminium hub carriers all the way around this vehicle. The only thing left really to do to this truck would be to put the metal centre diff case in and a better servo really. I mean, I could put a chassis brace on the bottom of it as well because it doesn't have one, but to be honest, I haven't had a problem with it flexing or bending the chassis, and I do have, like I say, a full spare chassis for this, so if I do end up sending it a bit hard and banana in the chassis, I do have a spare one. This thing is, like I say, aggressively quick. It's running a 39 spur and a 39 pinion. Because obviously with the cooling I have and the capabilities of the power outputs and all that, I can run high gearing, and I do. This thing's good for around about, I reckon 70-75 is generous. Well, not generous to be honest. I reckon it will do 70-75. I mean, it's having a space big enough to get it up to those sort of speeds without it wanting to pick up the front wheels, because as much as it's quite a long car, obviously with all that power, it will still pick up, it will still lift the front wheels quite happily. It will still wheelie. If you go off high enough jumps at high enough speed, it will do backflips, and you can land it. I have had this thing airborne several occasions. I've done some big air with this thing. I've done some big backflips, big jumps. Like I say, this is a brilliant little car. Well, say little. Like I say, it's my first 1/5 scale that I got. Out of all the 5th scales, this is the first one I got, and I absolutely adore this car. That's why I've spent so much on it, on the pursuit of making it absolutely indestructible, which it's not far off. I'm going to have to look at diffs at some point. I need to get better diffs for it, but other than that, this thing is pretty solid and takes pretty good kicking, to be honest. But yeah, that's the Kraton 8S with the upgrades that I've done. I'm only going to make this a short overview. We'll do a full video of this at some point in the future. Right then guys, that's going to be the end of this video. Like I say, I do apologise for how long it went on. We've got quite a lot of toys to play with, and quite a lot of things to show you that we've already got in the channel. Yeah, so it's been a little bit longer than I was expecting. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like I say, we've got a lot more content like this to come. Repairs, upgrades, runtime, bashing, crawling. Got a drone as well, so we do a bit of drone footage. You've probably seen some of them in the shorts if you've had a look around the channel. Like I say, we're into all sorts of stuff. We've got drift car coming, rear wheel drive 110. We're going to start getting into the drift world, see what we can make happen there. We've got big drift cars as well, which we take out on the car parks and that. They're loads of fun, really good fun. Them I won't add that into this video, obviously. We'll do a separate video on that one, because that's a special car, I believe, to me, to be honest. Like I say, I hope you enjoy what you've seen. It's just a video to show you what we've got at the channel, what you can expect to see in the following year, sort of content we're going to produce. And like I say, as things progress, we'll be getting hopefully better camera equipment, better audio equipment, and we're going to progress into this slowly. I mean, obviously I've got to manage time properly. I do have a full-time job as well. This is just a hobby of mine. I'm not going to be religious every week. I can't guarantee you're going to have a shiny new video every week at the moment, because time management. I'm a HGV driver, so I don't get much of it, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been great to introduce myself, let you guys know, the face behind the camera, for want of a better term. I won't be on camera that often. I'm not really one for the camera. I don't really, I can understand I'm going to have to be, but there's quite a lot of the stuff I won't need to be. Repairs, stuff like that. You can just be looking at the car. You don't need to be seeing my ugly mug, do you? Right, well, take care, guys. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen so far. If you wouldn't mind giving us a like and subscribe if you're still here. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.